STMK Radio 100.
If you're like most Christians, there are people in your life who know you, but may not know Jesus. You really want to do something about that, but don't feel equipped to share your faith effectively. In other words, maybe if you knew more, you could do more. Well, that's where the Tony Evans Training Center comes in. It's an online Bible school with classes that'll take you deep into the most important core concepts of the faith. You can start with our free introductory course on evangelism, then move on to subjects like spiritual warfare, marriage building, maturing in the faith, and many more. The content is challenging, but you can move through it at your own pace anytime you're online. There's also lots of custom content from Tony and an online forum where you can get your specific questions answered. Go to TonyEvansTraining.org and start your free intro course today. The Tony Evans Training Center, where you can explore the kingdom anytime, anywhere.
You want to know how to stop the madness? Listen to STMK Radio 100 and keep it 100.
This is Cassie Hawthorne from sunny California, and I listen to STMK Radio 100. Stop the madness. Keep it 100 on Facebook Live.
Wait. Hold on, brother. If you really want to know what's going on, listen to STMK Radio 100. They keep it real, and they stopping the madness. You're listening to STMK Radio 100. Stop the madness.
So.
Almost 250 years ago, 2 lanterns were hung here to warn of the incoming attack on America. Today, we have to acknowledge what our president won't. Our democracy is under attack again. Donald Trump praises Vladimir Putin and meets with him on foreign soil while rejecting our own law enforcement officials who say Putin launched a hostile attack on our last election and is planning to do it again this year. Why would an American president want to meet with a dictator who's trying to undermine our democracy? Is Trump again getting played by Putin? Or is he conspiring with a man who helped put him in office? If Paul Revere and other patriots had waited to act until it was safe or politically correct, we would never have the country we have today. It's time for Congress, Republicans and Democrats, to put their political interests aside and act on behalf of our country.
STMK Radio 100. You're listening to Stop the Madness, Keep It 100 with your host, Shawn L, Let, and Tone the Stone on STMK Radio 100.
Yes, this is a PSA, a public street announcement. You are now listening to a Kickback production. Light up your L's, lean back, and listen.
Children from their parents. How dare you pull children out of the arms of their mothers? How dare you lie and say you couldn't do anything about it? You're the one who caused it, and you're the one that we're going to make to turn it back, because what you're doing now is lying. What more lies do we need to hear? It is time for us to say, even though there are those who don't want us to say it, Mr. President, you need to be impeached. How he has not said one word about the fact that they've tapped into our DNC, underlined our democratic process. He's not said one thing about it, but he can wrap his arms around another dictator, Kim Jong-un, and tell us we ought to swallow it. We're through with you, Mr. President. We're not going to swallow it. You lied and you said you were going to make Mexico pay for it. They're not going to pay for it. We're not going to pay for it. History is not going to be kind to this administration. But we want history to record that we stood up, that we pushed back, that we fought, that we did not consider ourselves victims of this president. History will record that while he tried to step on all of us, we kicked him in his rear and we stepped on him. Mr. President, we're not afraid of you. We're not afraid of Jeff Sessions. We're not afraid of John Kelly. We're not afraid of your administration. And while you think you have gotten away with everything that you have done, we are going to show you that you haven't gotten away with anything, that if we can't protect the children, we can't protect anybody. And so let's stay the course. Let's make sure we show up wherever we have to show up. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
But we can only do that if we elect people who are going to back our agenda and fight for our values. And that is why we have to defeat Nancy Pelosi. And Maxine Waters, a very low IQ individual. You ever see her? You ever seen her? You ever see her? We will impeach him. We will impeach the president. But he hasn't done anything wrong. It doesn't matter. We will impeach him. She's a low IQ individual. You can't help it. She really is. We will impeach him. But you have Maxine Waters, and you have plenty of others. And, I mean, Nancy Pelosi, you can't have that. And Connor Lamb the sham, right? Lamb the sham. He's trying to act like a Republican, so he won't give me one vote. Look, I don't know him. Looks like a nice guy. I hear he's nice looking. I think I'm better looking than him. I do. And he's slightly younger than me. Slightly.
And Mr. President, we will see you every day, every hour of the day, everywhere that we are, to let you know you cannot get away with this. Thank you so very much.
Hey, good evening and welcome to Stop the Madness. Keep it 100 in Studio 51, Saxman, and us holding down the fort. We got a big storm coming through, Saxman. The wind out there blowing, and everybody talking about trees blowing around. We may not be up on the air long.
I thought I saw Trump's toupee go flying down the street. That's how hard the wind is blowing. Let me say, Trump. I love Trump. Trump is funny. Trump keeps me laughing. I don't love him in the way y'all think y'all love him. I love him in the way where he's funny. He keeps me entertained. So the stuff he says is funny.
Yeah, I want to say this about Trump. I think Trump is the master con artist.
Oh yeah,
Saxman.
Yeah,
you have to understand this right now. We are in an age right now where there's so much hate, and Trump is pulling the biggest con game on everybody. Because I want to say this: if you go back to what he's saying, and you go back to his speeches, and you go back into the thing, he's talking McCarthy speeches and everything. He's going back to the Third Reich of Hitler theology and everything. And then you have to really go back to the 1984 George Orwell's book. That's really crazy because, everybody keep thinking about this, the classic book that George Orwell wrote in 1984. And you have to look at this line that Trump's saying when he tells everybody, just remember that what you are seeing and what you are reading is not what's happening. Trump said, just stick with us. Now, if you go back to the Orwell's book, this is what he was saying, that politicians and everything was going to be telling you that. Now it's like we're in a twilight zone.
So in other words, don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
There you go, the Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz,
right. Don't pay a thing behind the curtain. But, before we get into Trump, because there's a lot of things happen with Trump, and we want to talk about that. One is the tapes that his fixer put out. Okay, they're fighting. And now you got the money man, the finance chief of his organization, going before a federal grand jury. So we may find out a lot.
They steady indicting people?
Right, and that's the bookkeeper.
Wow.
Okay, remember what happened to Al Capone?
Yeah, buddy. That's how they got him.
They got him. They got the bookkeeper.
Yeah.
And the bookkeeper turned everything over to him.
Did.
So you have to understand this. This is going to be going real deep.
Okay.
But see, Trump is getting away with this, Saxman, because of the hate.
Yeah.
And this is the problem that we have, is the hate. You look at this, the first issue, what happened with the Oath Keepers. Maxine Waters, a sitting Congresswoman, talking to her constituents, tell them that if they see any person from Trump's administration, you just heard her, we played that so everybody could hear it, to go up to them and tell them they're not welcome, push back, call them out, tell them what they're doing wrong. Okay? Those are public officials she's telling you to go to. She's not telling you to go to Trump's kids. She's not telling you to go to
his
wife or his campaign manager or somebody. She's telling you to go to a public official
that's been elected.
That's been elected by the people of the United States.
Right.
Now, I have a First Amendment right. Okay, I can go up to a public official, be it a police officer, be it the mayor, councilman, or anybody else on that line. I can go there, okay, and tell them how I feel,
right,
without the fear of being arrested,
right,
or about any fear of any appraisal coming, okay? That's what the law says you can do, okay? That's what she did. That's what she told her constituents to do. The Oath Keepers, armed racial group, said that they was going to come to her office after somebody threatened to kill her and protest. Well, they must have forgot where Maxine Waters was at.
All right.
Okay, Maxine Waters sat right in the middle of South Central. Okay. Over 400 armed black
was that Black Panthers or
militants came to meet the Oath Keepers.
Okay.
LA had to do an all-city call-up. Okay. Once the Oath Keepers found out that all these armed militants came, they didn't show up. Thank God they didn't show up.
That'd have been it.
Now, LA got 5 SWAT teams deployed to Maxine Waters' office. Okay? Maxine Waters is not the type of black female you're going to be able to push on. She's going to stand up. She's strong. She's going to stand up. She's going to speak her mind. She's going to say what a lot of people don't want to say.
Don't want to say, yeah. She's like me, the devil's advocate.
Right.
I always say this.
And the bottom line is this, Saxman. A lot of people are blind. Okay? A lot of his supporters are blind. A lot of hate. I was on a panel last week when we was on that panel, and it comes back to where we're going to talk about respect and activists and everything else, is that a lot of people have to understand, even though you're Puerto Rican and you could pass for white or you look white, they don't like you neither.
Regardless.
Okay, regardless. We're going to talk about a case where a Puerto Rican male was with the skinheads and the neo-Nazis at a rally.
Whoa.
Okay. And they found out that he wasn't
pure white.
Yeah. And they shot him.
Ooh.
Now, this is a guy that planned all the stuff with him. This is a guy that was out there doing the stuff with him. This was a guy that was passing as white.
Wow.
Okay. So they don't like you neither. Okay. So we have a lot of people that has a lot of hate and animosity and going on that side. But what we have to understand is that we as the community has to stop that hate. So when you look at what Trump's doing right now, Trump's playing on that hate. Remember, we talked about George Orwell's novel, okay?
Okay.
I want you to listen to what he's telling you when you read that book. And now 98,000 copies of that book's being made. You know why? Because everybody thinks Trump is reading this book and then he's coming out acting, because, Trump think that he's a TV actor.
Right, exactly.
So all these copies of this book, and everybody's wondering, why is this book from 1984 all of a sudden getting ready to be the #1 seller? Why? Because Trump in Kansas City and the Think Progress group made comparison between Trump's speeches in Kansas City and a line from the late Mr. Orwell's novel that reads, "The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final and most essential command. Don't look at what's going on in front of you. Don't listen to what people are saying. Forget about your eyes. Forget about your ears. Listen to what I'm telling you this happened."
Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
And that's crazy, Saxon, man. That's really crazy.
That is crazy.
Then you have Trump calling the news media fake. We are a society of free news. Okay, that's what makes this America so great. Okay, is that the news media is supposed to call out politicians, supposed to come to us, and like what we're doing right now. Can you imagine? We're fake news. We could be censored right now. We could be put in jail. Okay, and if we was in Russia, we could be killed.
Right.
So when you look at that, this is very serious. And then what he did to the news reporter yesterday, because she asked him about a lie that he told. Now, I'm going to say this to all the Trump supporters, okay? How many times are you going to allow someone to tell you a lie? Trump said, and I'm going to repeat this, that he had no idea that his fixer set up a company, paid the porn star, paid the Playboy mate. There was no affair. They were lying, and he never committed adultery with his owner's wife. That's what Trump told you. But guess what? Now we have Trump on tape talking about setting up the company, making payments to keep the story of the affair from the National Enquiry, and talking about payments. Now, everybody here is talking about, did he say cash? Did he say check? Let me tell you the laws that's broken here. We got our law enforcement correspondent sitting here right here.
Yeah.
If me and you talking about breaking the law, Saxman, we don't have to break the law.
But we could be charged with conspiracy.
Because we are conspiring to break the law.
Exactly.
Okay. How do everybody thinks that all the terrorists are being arrested by the FBI? They never blown up like the guy here in Ohio. He never went and blew up the Bellevue Bridge.
That's right.
He never went and got the bomb material to even make the bomb. But he sat with an FBI agent and he talked about it.
Doing it.
And he talked about the crime.
That's right.
Okay? Trump is a conspirator.
He's a conspirator. Yes,
okay?
Right.
And we got him on tape. So there's no question right there what crime he committed. He committed if it's a violation of campaign finance, okay, then he committed a conspiracy to violate that law.
Now he could get in trouble for conspiracy to steal campaign contributions or funds. Correct?
Right, that's a campaign thing. Now don't misuse of campaign contributions.
Okay.
And he can be guilty of bank fraud.
Bank fraud. Okay.
Wire fraud. Okay. The biggest thing is he has lied and got caught this time. See, before when he was lying to the American people, everybody kept saying, that's Trump being Trump.
Right.
And he's not lying.
Right.
Okay. You can't prove he lying and it's this or that. Well, we can prove he lying because Trump said he had no idea. He never knew where the payment came from. He never knew anything about the payment. They said that his fixer just went and did what he did. Now we have him on tape conspiring to do that.
He ain't got nobody else to really back him up no more now. I mean, these people just, they stretching their neck out for him.
Right. But, you know, I'm going to see if the control room can pull that up for us. But before they pull that up, I want to just go back into this. The Republican Party has already sold their soap. Okay. There's no way to get off the boat right now. They wanted the court. They wanted the tax cuts. They sold their soul to Trump, so they got to walk down that walk. They have to take that step going down.
Those that's left, because a lot of them did jump ship.
Well, a lot of them jumped ship, and a lot of them going, but now all you got is the crazy one.
Right.
You got Jordan from Ohio State. He's in the middle of a sex scandal. He knew that the coach, what's the guy in Pennsylvania had that same scandal?
Yeah.
The guy in Pennsylvania that was raping the little boys and
Right.
taking showers. We got the same problem here with the wrestlers in Ohio State.
Right.
You got 14 people saying that they victims said that they talked to Jordan. Jordan said, I don't know nothing about it. This never happened. They don't tell me. I don't know what's going on. But the wrestlers and all the victims come in. Now, everybody, all the Republicans and all them coming out saying that the kids is wrong. If I get raped, I know who raped me.
Right, exactly.
And I know who I wouldn't talk to.
Right.
You can't tell me I didn't go talk to this person, and this is a person of authority, okay? But they're going to bash the kids.
Yeah.
And I don't know where they get this. But the hate for Barack Obama and his administration has set in so bad into this country, I don't think we're going to recover, Saxman.
I don't think so either.
I'm serious because, you're looking at black people here where they're getting the police called on.
Yeah.
Okay, you got black people who can't walk down the street. You got law enforcement officers being put in the middle and stuff, and all police officers are not taking the time to do what they do. Look at the park officer in Chicago.
Right.
He lost his job.
Right.
Okay, 17 years gone down the line. His kids in college, they got to leave.
Yep.
Daddy losing his job.
Right.
Okay, you got to think about this stuff right here.
How about what happened in Florida?
Well, right there. But you have to look at this in Florida. We're gonna come on the back end. We're gonna come back in on the back end of that.
That's disturbing, man.
Right. But I want to go this again, as I told everybody here again. Ohio has a stand your ground law. Okay, it's not as hard,
Yes, right.
as Florida, but it's a stand your ground law, and this is why the community and the activists, if they're not registering people to vote, forget going to public square to carry a sign or block a highway. Forget getting your picture in the next newspaper. Forget about getting slaps on the back. You got to get these people down to the board of elections and get them registered, because we're going to talk about some SBs that was put in place.
Right.
But I want to go back to Trump before we go over to that.
I was reading some of them SBs too.
Because the control room's pulling up that tape for us, and they got it ready. But when you look at this, Trump tells you everything that McCarthy said and that George Orwell was saying. In 1954, when George Orwell told you how the world was going to be. Everybody keep talking about Trump don't read. Trump don't know this. Trump is a master manipulator.
Yeah,
He done read this book because he's using lines out of this book, and he's not using lines in the beginning of the book or at the end of the book. He's using lines out of the middle of the book, and he's using his lines when he's at his rallies, where the meat is there, where everybody's riled up and everybody's jumping and everybody's going on, okay? And this wasn't the first time that Mr. Trump used words that have been compared to Mr. Orwell's novel.
Okay.
Last year, at a number of addresses, Mr. Trump's administration might have similar themes that explored the 1984 book. The president's choice of cabinet appointees and his strong claim of voter fraud in the U.S., which has been reportedly been debunked, but he don't give few examples. He throws it out there. The book tells you this is what politicians going to do.
Right.
Throw it out there. Some may grab on it. Some may come bucking. When somebody come to say this, you look at him and say, fake news.
Right.
Okay. This is what he's doing. Remember, his number one line is fake news.
Fake news, right.
But the control room got that up. So let's go to the control room and let's listen to Trump. One, use the Orwell line so everybody can understand. And two, listen to this tape that he's using when he tells the American people that he has no idea of committing conspiracy to commit wire fraud and bank fraud. Listen to this. Go ahead, control room. Pull it up for us.
And just remember, what you're seeing and what you're reading is not what's happening. Let me know what's happening, okay? Maybe because of this, it would be better if you didn't go. You know, maybe because of this, for that one. You know, I think what you should do is get rid of this because it's so false what they're saying. It's such bullshit. think this goes away quickly. I think it's probably better. Do the Charleston thing. Just this time. Yeah. In 2 weeks it's fine. I think right now it's better. You know? Okay, honey. You take care of yourself. Thanks, Bill. Yep, I'm proud of you. So long. What's up, Mike?
Great poll, by the way.
Yeah.
Seen it. Great poll.
Making progress.
Big time.
And you guys are good guy.
Hello, Pastor Scott.
No, Pastor Scott. What's happening?
Oh, no.
Can we use him anymore?
Oh, yeah. 100. No, you just meant Mark Burns. We told him
Well,
to.
I don't mean that. Mark Burns. Can we use him?
No.
Richard Lefrak, sorry, Richard Lefrak just called. He just had me have a chance. He had an idea for you.
So we got served from the New York Times. I told you this regarding to unseal the divorce papers with Ivana. We're fighting it. Kaslitz is going to
never be able to get that.
Never. Kaslitz says that they'll ever be able. They don't have a.
Give me your coat, please.
They don't have a legitimate purpose.
And you
So
have a woman that doesn't want to see it.
correct.
So you've been handling it.
Yes, and it's all
It's been going on for a while.
for about 2-3 weeks now.
All you have to do is delay it 4 weeks.
Even after that, it's not going to ever be opened. There's no purpose for it. Told you about Charleston. I need to open up a company for the transfer of all of that info regarding our friend David. So that I'm going to do that right away. I've actually come up and I've spoken to Alan Weisselberg about how to set the whole thing up with
So what are we going to pay?
funding. Yes, and it's all the stuff. All the stuff, because you never know where that company, you never know where he's going to be. Correct. So I'm all over that, and I spoke to Alan about it. When it comes time for the financing, which will be
What financing?
we'll have to pay you. So
I'll pay the cash.
no. I got no. Hey, Bill, how are you?
Now you look at that, Saxman. You heard that right there, right? So when you look at this, it clearly shows that Trump has his hands all in it, and he is a liar, okay? And he's lying multiple times. So how many times are people going to let him lie to them? And this is the problem right here. Nobody has made the decision yet if a sitting president can be indicted. What'd you say?
Don't the Supreme Court make that decision?
The Supreme Court is going to have to make that decision.
So,
but when you
got his people in there,
there you go. You have to look. You have to look at the next Supreme Court pick. It's going to be very important.
That's going to be hard to do.
And then what you have to look at this also, Saxman. There's no crime, collusion, or however you want to say it, that does not exist. Okay. It's treason, and treason is a crime that has a death sentence on the back of it. Okay, so it's either going to be conspiracy to commit treason or treason. And everybody say, well, how's treason? It's because they aided a foreign nation to attack the United States. Cyber attack. Everybody has to understand. We're not looking for bombs and all this now.
Right.
We're being cyber attacked. Okay, and that's the big issue right there. When you look at the AP is reporting right now, I'm looking on the AP line, that the lawyer who met with Trump Jr. has ties to the Russian officials. Okay? You look at all the lies that he done told you, and let's just go with the top 5 lies he done told you.
Okay, number one.
The number one lie, that there was no meetings or contact by anyone of his campaign, his son, his daughter, him, his son-in-law, any officials with Russians.
Number 2.
What did we learn? Everybody met with the Russians.
Everybody.
Multiple times. Then he said number 2 lie. That his crowd was the biggest inauguration crowd in the history of the world.
I see the photo.
Okay.
That was funny.
Then the 3rd lie he keep telling.
Right.
Okay.
Number 3.
Let's just go to where right here when he sit with Russia. He clearly said Russia
had nothing to do with this.
Had nothing to do with the hacking of the DNC emails, and that it was on the DNC for not having proper security.
Right.
Then he turns around and come back and say, "Oh, I should have said it should have been Russia instead. It wasn't Russia."
Now wait a minute, Sean. You didn't work the DNC, did you?
Yeah.
I was there too. I worked at.
Well, no, I didn't work. You talking about the RNC?
The RNC. Okay, the
right.
RNC. Yeah.
I was retired then. The RNC, you have to look at this too. The Russians was there too.
They was there. That's what I was about to say.
Okay.
I was there. I was working at RNC.
Then you had Michael Flynn. He didn't fire Michael Flynn for lying to the FBI. He already knew what Michael Flynn lie was. You look at Jared. Jared went to the Russians and asked for a backdoor communication line. Okay. Mueller and our CIA and our intelligence agents and them already know what was said and done. You look at the lackeys they have in the House, Devin Nunes, Jordan, and all them. They lied to us and said, and this is why I said we're in a new era right now as a twilight zone, because they put out their investigation and said they found no Russian meddling. Then they put out a statement that the FBI lied to the FISA court and didn't tell them about who made the dossier and how this was all started and all this other stuff, and that they was following Carter Page, illegally U.S. citizen, and that they put a spy in the middle of Trump's campaign and illegally started the Russia investigation. Now, when you think that they knew actually what was in these documents, they knew because they read them and was told. When you think that at some point in time we put our narrative and our lie out there, but why would I force Saxman to show his hand? Long as I told the lie and Saxman kept telling everybody we can't show this because of security and national security and everything. So when you look at that, Saxman, when I tell you that, why would I force you to show your hand?
You need another scapegoat.
Well, not only that, but
I'm your new scapegoat. Even though I've been backing you up and covering you all the time.
Right. But Saxman, why would I force you to show your hand? Because once you put the documents out there, as we all know now, that the FBI was looking at Carter Page because they was using Carter Page a long time ago. Oh, got an Amber Alert for the weather.
Yeah, it's weather bad.
So when you look at this, Carter Page was being looked at because the Russians was trying to make him an asset long before he was even with the Trump campaign.
This is interesting.
And the FBI went to Carter Page and told Carter Page. Then you had the drunk guy, George Papadopoulos, who goes to an ambassador of another nation and tell him that the Russians got dirt and information on Hillary Clinton is going to give it to the Trump campaign. That's like me going to the police and say, Saxman is going to rob this bank tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.
Right.
Okay. Now, when they got the FISA war, this is the lie that the Republicans told. 4 Republican judges. Trump like to say they are Democrats, and it's a witch hunt, it's all Democrats. Well, if it's a witch hunt, they got 25 Russians, 1 sitting in jail. They got 7 convictions and 1 serving time right now.
That's a lot of witches and warlocks.
They getting ready to got 1 getting ready to go on trial. Manafort's getting ready to go on trial. And they not done yet because the next indictments that come down, Saxman, will be American citizens, and those indictments will be some serious charges. I told you, treason. So when you look at these documents that come out from the FISA warrant, you got the FBI telling the 4 Republican judges, and you got to show each judge each time you come back that you got some information to progress to the next step. You just can't keep going back. Okay. So they told the judge about the FISA warrant, about the dossier, who wrote the dossier, and what the dossier was for. Okay, so that debunked Jordan's and them lied to the FISA court. 2, they showed you that Carter Page was out there being a Russian asset, and he knew he was, and he was in the Trump campaign knowing that the FBI was looking at him and that he was working for the Russians. Okay, then you got this guy, Roger Stone, okay, who predicted all of a sudden out of the clear blue sky about Hillary Clinton's emails. Then you got
smoke and screen.
John Jr. Now you find out that the lady that was in the meeting with Don Jr. and Paul Manafort, who's getting millions and millions of dollars from the Russian, all work for Russian officials. And I guarantee you by the time it comes back, some Russian anti-Russian CIA, KGB people probably was in that meeting. Okay, but our people want to thump the flag, and this is where I have a problem at, and this is where we're going to bring it back to, Saxman, because this is where I have a problem at right here, is that everybody can come against players in the NFL for kneeling. And call them unpatriotic and hang them and getting ready to put the hammer to them. But
you're going to support your American president that's colluding with a foreign national.
Well, who could be a Russian asset?
He could be a Russian spy.
And, Saxman, this is the problem that I have. I'm going to say this. This is the problem, America, that I have. And everybody listen to me. Welcome, Facebook Live, YouTube, Savannah, L.A., Washington, D.C. is in the house.
Washington, all right.
And this is the problem that I have. And I want to say this, Saxman, is that they let them lie to them. They let them do whatever you want to do, okay? But the minute that a NFL player kneels for what they believe to be injustice, okay, and you've seen a lot of things happen. There's a lot of cases, like the cases in Milwaukee.
But see, Trump carries their agenda. That's why nothing's happening to him.
Well,
if you carrying someone's agenda, even though it's destructive to everyone else, but it's effective and it works for you, then you're gonna back that person that's carrying your agenda and that's causing destruction to everyone else.
D knows in the chat room. Hey D, we'll be in there in a minute with you because you got that conversation going, and we're gonna be coming to that conversation in a minute. But you are 100% correct, Saxman. Remember last week when me and Tony Stone had that we was talking to Tony Stone when I told him that if I carry your water, okay, then I'm holding up to that agenda. Okay, there's no way around it. Okay, you can't get around it.
You can't get around
okay? And when you look at all this that's going down, okay, look at the situation right now with our kids, okay, not respecting their elders, okay, and I was raised that not only you respect your elders,
but your neighbors.
But you respect your neighbors, you respect your neighborhood,
your teachers,
the
police,
the police. Then you look at this also, Saxman. In the days that we came up, if you go back to the Nationals, because we just celebrated the 50-year anniversary of the Glenville riots. Okay. The worst history in law enforcement time in the city of Cleveland.
I remember.
3 law enforcement officers were killed that night. One just died from the wounds that he received from complications. He died after the riot, but he's still being counted as a casualty for the riot. You look at all the news media and everybody else that is doing the stories on this, and there's one problem that everybody is overlooking, and it comes back to what we've been talking about. It's respect. Okay? The Black Nationals and the Black Panthers came into the neighborhood and the community. They didn't allow drug dealings. They didn't allow the disrespect of black women.
Right.
They didn't allow the breaking in of people's houses.
Right.
And if, Saxman, if you was a drug dealer or a person who's causing problems within our community, they came and paid you a visit.
They patrolled the neighborhood that I grew up in, 110th and Woodland.
Right. So they came and paid you a visit, though, Saxman. You understand?
Yep.
Dude, most people do not understand that the projects was some of the safest places in the city to be.
Mark Carmel, Moore's Black Apartments.
Now, we looking at this where by design, the family was cut up, okay? And the male was removed. And you can go back into a lot of different things because...
Well, that was by design. That was the first thing they did, remove the father. And when they removed the father, then they put the mama on assistance.
Right.
Now they got control
of everything.
The father out, they got control of the mama. So whatever she needs, they got to control her. They tell her, if you want this money, your man got to go.
And you don't have that black male figure, and you don't have the black control in there.
You take it away.
And when you look at this, and this is a serious conversation that need to be had by all our activists.
Oh, yeah.
If we're not going to hold ourselves accountable, and if we're not going to hold our kids accountable, then what we're going to do? Look at this the situation in Atlanta. The young man that was in jail for about 17 robberies. And the judge gave him a break and let him out. And everybody told the judge that he was going to kill somebody. And here go a young man and rapper and stuff in Atlanta on Peach Street at one of the clubs coming from a wedding that he just came into Atlanta to attend. and the young man walks up on him and rob him. The gentleman asked him for his driver's license because he couldn't get back on the airplane, and the young black male kills him. Okay? Now, he's in jail now for 4 robberies.
Now murder.
And a murder. Now, the judge who gave him that break and attempt to rehabilitate our kids is catching hell and getting ready to get recalled by the black community. So I'm telling the activists is that if we're not going to hold our kids to a certain standard, and if we're not going to make them respect themselves or respect the people that they're in or respect their neighborhoods, we're going to have a problem.
It worked for us back in our day, Sean.
Because if you want to talk about police, this is the thing that I tell everybody when I was on the panel. If you want to talk about police misconduct and police shootings of young, unarmed black males, we have to talk about what is causing that violent encounter.
You can't always blame it on the police.
And it's not a racial issue because you know what? You have black police officers that's been involved in shootings of unarmed black males.
That's right.
You have white police officers been involved in shooting of unarmed black males. But you have to ask, what is causing that problem? And that's a 4-step conversation, okay? Jobs, housing, schooling, go all the way down the line.
Upbringing,
okay?
And
respect,
discipline. Yeah.
Maximum. We all talked about the issue of mass. What was that? Mass incarceration. Then you got to talk about the school to prison pipeline. There's so many issues there that you have to talk about before you even get to the issue of police misconduct and shootings. Okay. And that's a problem. But we can talk about all that.
These kids are distracted more now than when we were coming up.
But you know what? You know what? Hold that for a minute, Saxman, because you know what? What's up? D Nose is in the chat room, and they got a big thing going there. There's over 700 people in our 3 chat rooms, and they're talking about the respect in the community. Hey, D, how do you like your move up to Houston? I hear that you really love the city, and I hear that the chat room is on fire. So tell us what's going on.
Well, Shawn L, I love the city of Houston, and you know the chat room is on fire today, and they're letting their philosophical opinions show. Whatever happened to showing respect to your elders? Is it the upbringing to blame or society? Darlene Beck, they, young people, have exalted notions because they have not been humbled by life or learned its necessary limitations. Moreover, their hopeful disposition makes them think themselves equal to great things, and that means having exalted notions. They would always rather do noble deeds than useful ones. Their lives are regulated more by moral feeling than by reasoning. All their mistakes are in the direction of doing things excessively and vehemently. They overdo everything. They love too much, hate too much, and the same with everything else. Mac Davidson. We have been kicking this issue around, especially in light of an emerging new social culture. We noticed that parenting is different from World War II parents to baby boomers to millennials to whatever might be next. The trend seems to be in focus. Children were once raised to comply to an adult world. Now adults basically comply to a child's world. This was first started as a rebellion to rigid structures of tradition, culture, power, and custom. Today, college interns actually believe they should be paid $100K to start. They are rudely awakened when they find harder hours for much less pay. So parents have allowed their kids to think whatever they want. And BS 101. I think once the 1960s were over, so was showing respect to your elders. I think it's a product of this culture that everyone has bought into. Before that time, young people longed to grow up. Now they get depressed passing from their teens to their 20s. Today, youth is valued both by young and old. Youth, sex appeal, and vitality is venerated in the USA. The elders are marginalized unless able to go, and look as young and sexy as possible. Wisdom and the experience with which it is won and comes with age are now replaced by creativity, innovation, and movement. Even the older people try to be as young as they are able to be. People that in decades past would be found sitting in a rocking chair by the fire advising the young are now found on zip lines. Real Deal 88. J. Mack is right. Society and the nanny state of most popular countries in the West, where discipline of their own children is not allowed in fear of being prosecuted by the law, is the biggest factor of the problem, as I am 40 and my generation is a totally different one from the PlayStation generation in every aspect of the word, manners and morals, dignity. The list goes on, as they have never had reason to answer to anyone about their actions and how they affect others. And that's what's happening in the chat room with Dino's.
Trump and Cohen. I'm Ed Donahue with an AP News Minute. On Twitter, President Trump wrote, "What kind of lawyer would tape a client so sad?" A secretly recorded tape made 2 months before the 2016 election shows then candidate Donald Trump and his lawyer talking about plans to pay for a former Playboy model's story of an alleged affair with Trump. The tape was played on CNN.
I need to open up a company for the transfer of all of that info regarding our friend David. so that I'm going to do that right away. I've actually come up and I've spoken to Alan Weisselberg about how to set the whole thing up.
Also on Twitter, President Trump is calling China vicious on trade. Chinese President Xi Jinping said the world faces a choice between cooperation and confrontation. President Trump says China is targeting U.S. farmers specifically because they know the president loves and respects them. President Trump says he wants a fair trade deal from the European Union. The president and European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker are trying to diffuse tensions on trade.
We are close partners, allies, not enemies.
The president has threatened to impose tariffs on auto imports, and the EU plans to retaliate.
Over the years, the United States has been losing hundreds of billions of dollars with the European Union, and we just want it to be a level playing field.
The president suggested the two sides could one day have no tariffs at all. Juncker's response?
We should focus on reducing tariffs, not on increasing them, and that's what we have to do.
The president's repeatedly called the EU an unfair trading partner. His proposed Washington meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin has been delayed until next year. National Security Advisor John Bolton cites Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian interference as the reason for the delay. I'm Ed Donahue.
perfect. Hi, I'm Kurt Hosenbeck, and I use Wix.com to create websites for my business, my passion projects, or in this case, both. Here, check out my 8 prize-winning Basset Hounds I call family. With Wix Pro Gallery, my images keep their high quality online and make these good-looking dogs look their absolute best. Not like any of these handsome fellas need my help. These photos display at such stunningly high resolution. Just look at them. Bonkers for Basset Hounds. Just their ears. The hounds of the Bassetville. Halloween doggy costume time. Christmas with the hounds. Old photos I forgot I had. Taxidermied friends. And drawings of the dogs. Basset Hounds. The world's most sophisticated animal. Create your own stunning website with Wix.com.
You've been tuned in to Stop the Madness, keeping it 100 on STMK Radio 100. And now back to your host one more time, Shawn L, Let, and Tone the Stone.
Those who strive to turn the clock back will not be successful, because the arc of justice bends toward that which is good and that which is right. African Americans have been through the storm. We've been through slavery, we've been through segregation, we've been through all of that, and yet look where we are today.
Hey, welcome back. Saxman is in
Yes,
Studio
sir.
51 with us. Tone the Stone is on vacation. J Mac is out in the weather.
Yeah.
And you know, we lost everybody down in Cincinnati, Columbus, and southern parts down there. We still got Savannah and Washington D.C., but they say this big storm is coming
Yeah, the
across.
weather's bad.
Trees has been blown down and stuff is happening right there. We're trying to keep track of it, but the good Lord has blessed the sex man because we stay on the air, so we don't have to worry about it. But you know, I want to go back into that because we was talking about this earlier, sex man, about the respect of the youth in our community that we all have to get together. But there's something that the chat room want to talk about, so we're gonna go right into that for Free for All Friday.
All right.
Did you see the video of the incident that happened in Florida?
It's giving me nightmares.
But you know, Saxman, I want to say this, and Control Room saying maybe it's the weather, but just pull into your mic a little bit.
I'm in the mic.
Oh, there you go. You know what's getting me is that when Trayvon Martin got killed, George Zimmerman never went for stand your ground, but he used it as an argument in his trial. Okay, and everybody knows in Florida that you got to get out and vote and you got to change those laws. Now there's 20, I keep telling everybody this, the state of Ohio has stand your ground laws. It's not as severe as Florida, but we have it. And don't take my word for it, because we had this big argument on a panel. Google what state has stand your ground type laws or stand your ground laws, and Ohio is one of the 24. And I want everybody in Ohio to understand this. Florida stand your ground laws this. You can meet force with force, no matter where you at, okay? Ohio's Catherine doctrine and laws is somebody come into your house.
Home or in your driveway
or your car.
Your
It's only in your house.
Well, I thought it was the garage attachment.
No, only in the house unless the garage is attached to the house.
Right.
That's part of your, the main structure now, the way our houses are built.
That's part of your castle.
Okay. Or your car. They even extended it to your car.
To your car,
Now, if you're a concealed weapon permit holder, and the same thing happened in Florida, Ohio law says that you must attempt to retreat.
Exactly.
Okay. But if you can't, then you can meet force with force.
Exactly.
Now, somebody said this on a panel last week after this video came out.
The one in the panel in Chicago?
Right. Okay. And after the video came out. Now, I'm going to say this. When that gentleman pushed that person down on the ground, okay, I don't know if you would have been legally right to use force like that in Florida, like the guy did in Florida.
No,
okay,
in Ohio, like they did in Florida.
Well, right, in Ohio, I don't know if you'd have been covered, but you may have because you had nowhere to retreat.
He's on the ground.
You're on the ground. Okay, but that shooting comes back to something that we have to understand is that the laws in Florida and some of these southern states.
Well, Sean, hold on a second. Let me say something. I don't mean to cut you off. It's disgusting. I'm going to say it for those that's listening and wish they can say it on the air. I'm going to say it for them. It's disgusting because you had a black female who had a restraining order against her husband who was abusive to her, came to the house to attack her, chased her through the house, chased her all the way to the garage. She retrieved her weapon, fired a warning shot in the air, not at him. And she's doing 20 years behind bars.
Right, but the difference with that case is
the case is she's a black woman. That's the only difference.
Well, not only that, she left the house and came back in the house with him. I read that one. I know which one you're talking about.
But still, she's still in that state that has a stand your ground law.
Right, but
and she had a restraining order against him. He has no business being there.
Right, but
he's in violation of that restraining order. She has every right in the world to defend herself, but she didn't want to shoot and kill him. She shot a warning shot to scare him off.
Saxman, you got a weapon, but
you
have to understand this. In Florida, if you leave, then you're not in threat. But if she'd have stayed and used the weapon, she probably would have covered. That law is coming to Ohio. Let me explain this to everybody here in Ohio.
Explain it.
SB 228 as bringing the Florida version of Stand Your Ground to the state of Ohio.
More dead people in Ohio.
And the only reason that is not been voted on, and the governor said he's going to sign it.
Mm.
Okay, is that they're waiting for after the summer break for the new speaker of the House to be named, and then they're going to vote.
Or to see how many dead
Okay.
bodies they have after the summer break.
And I'm going to say this right here. This is force with force. What everybody don't understand. If you put your hands on me, I don't care if you push me aside. I don't care if you walk up. I don't care whatever you do. Whatever you do, if SB 228 pass and you put your hands on me, the law is I can kill you.
That's bad.
And the only way you're going to change this, people, is that you're going to have to get registered. We said this in the first hour about dealing with Trump in the midterms and 2020. Election has consequences. And if you're not going to get out and vote, and you're going to allow these people who does not look like you or care about what you your beliefs and things,
or care about your life,
they're going to put these on the books. And Saxman, that is horrible.
That's horrible.
It's
disgusting.
We just did the thing with the trains, stealing the guns off the trains.
Setup. That was a setup.
So many guns are being stolen off of trains in our inner cities. They don't have to. You'll never get all those guns back.
You're not.
Okay. You'll never get them back. And then when you start talking about drug dealers, I was reading a thing out of Florida, Atlanta, North Carolina. You have drug dealers using and gang members using stand your ground laws. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
They're killing rivals and then claiming stand your ground.
They can't.
Now, and I looked at the Florida law, Saxman, and I'm going to say this right here. The sheriff is 100% correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because Florida said force with force. And once somebody says, and I didn't understand this, and I really thought I had to stand corrected, that if I shoot somebody in Florida, all I have to do invoke is stand your ground.
Mm-hmm.
They can't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
The law says they can't even arrest you. They can't even ask you to go to the station and sit down. Will you come give me a statement?
Well, they didn't do a George Zimmerman that way. They let him go home and gave him his gun back.
Right. So when you look at the law, I mean, these laws was written for one reason and one reason only, Saxman, because they see people of color
a threat
as a threat and predators, and they put it that way. So if they do kill you, they can get away with it.
Didn't I not say this on these shows, previous shows?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did, Saxman.
I've
yes,
said
you did.
it over and over and over again. If you continue to keep acting a fool out there, these people that don't care about you is going to create laws and put them on the books to eliminate you.
So when you look at this also, Saxman, I want to go to not only that Florida situation, because in Florida, there's people coming out now. And see, this is what I'm talking about when an incident happened. If you know you got a man coming up to the convenience store, threatening people, trying to get into a confrontation with people, that's when you're supposed to pick the telephone up and dial 911 and call the police. That is an armed person. Okay? Now, you can pick the phone up and call the police for a guy barbecuing in a non-barbecuing spot. You can pick the phone up and call the police on little kids selling water. You can pick the phone up and call the police for black women sleeping in lounges and everything else.
Or black women trying to swim in the pool.
Right, or swimming in the pool. I mean, or going to Starbucks. But here's a guy that you know is armed, looking to start a confrontation so he can kill somebody by law. Okay, now you got all these people here, and this is where I'm upset, and I'm gonna say this is that when you got all these people here coming to the news media and sitting down and going to the thing talking about this guy's up here every day threatening people, trying to start a confrontation, talking about he gonna kill somebody. That's when you should have called the police.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, now I'm gonna say this for everybody living in Florida or any state that has a stand your ground law.
I feel sorry for you.
Ohio is not there yet, but we're going there.
Yep.
Don't put your hands on anybody, okay? Don't get into a confrontation. If somebody approach you in a confrontation, turn and walk away.
Walk away.
Okay? Had that guy walked over to that young lady's car and put his hands on her car and she put out a gun and shot him, she would have been covered under the stand your ground law.
Wouldn't it have been easier for the black guy to walk up and say, "Hey, man, get away from my woman"?
That would have been easy because you're in Florida now, okay? Once he walked up and put his hands on that male and put him on the ground, he should have known. I'm in Florida.
He should. Exactly.
Okay, I'm not gonna say that he should have cleaned his clock, but you're in Florida. If you're gonna put your hands on
You
somebody,
might as well go all the way.
right? Because not only did he allow this guy to go into his pocket and pull his concealed weapon,
He drew it, aimed it at
well,
him.
he was done after that, Saxman.
Yep.
You know, when I say he was done, he was done. Once the guy put the weapon out, it was nothing he could do.
His intention was definitely to shoot and kill him.
But this was the guy's intention all along. Okay, so when you
Because from what I understand, he's done that before.
Right.
He's been up there messing with people that's been parking in handicap areas. How did he know the lady didn't have a handicap sticker?
Oh,
How did he know the lady didn't have a handicap placard?
But he got out. Look, you see him on the film.
Yeah, but how did he know?
But my problem is this: who make you the police?
Yeah, you don't have no authority.
And the problem is, had he and I looked at the law, so I'm gonna go back to what the sheriff said.
Okay.
Had he shot the young lady, or had the young lady shot him, she would have been covered. Had he shot the young lady, he'd have went to jail because he was the aggressor.
Right.
But the guy, her boyfriend,
he was the aggressor.
He was the aggressor. Okay, because the law says when he came out, and everybody has to understand this. When Trayvon Martin was shot, I go again. George Zimmerman didn't invoke the stand your ground law, but he argued the stand your ground law in his trial. He didn't invoke it, okay, because he was the aggressor, and he didn't want to judge the rule that he couldn't use the stand the ground law.
Right.
So he used it in the law as self-defense, because what George Zimmerman said was he went after Trayvon Martin, and he was chasing Trayvon Martin. He lost sight of Trayvon Martin, and he was turning around coming back
To his car, yeah.
to his car, and Trayvon Martin appeared out of nowhere and attacked him.
Attacked him, yeah.
Okay? Now, this situation in Florida, everybody down in Florida has to be right now at their board of elections getting registered to vote. They're going to have to come out and vote.
Especially the black people.
They're going to have to get people in office, like Michael, what was the guy, Jordan? Jordan's mother just ran for office, like in Georgia, and she just won her primary. You're going to have to put people in office that are going to appeal these laws, that's going to make proper laws, because stand your ground. I don't care what nobody say, and I'm going to say this, in Ohio, House Bill 228 is coming. Stand your ground is not a stand your ground law. It's kill law.
Yep.
It's open season. Okay.
And people gonna be out there looking.
But you already got people looking.
It's gonna happen.
Look at him. She parked in a handicap spot at a convenience store.
I'm talking about here in Ohio.
But look at Ohio.
Yeah, they could be
look at these crazy people in Ohio. What if I don't put the grocery cart back? And you know, I go out here to a thing. You know, it tells you put the grocery cart back into this rack right here.
Yeah, I leave it, and then it accidentally rolled into a person's car.
Oh, well, it don't have to roll into the car. You leave it, go get in your car like you get ready to drive away. Here go parking lot Barney.
Yeah.
That's a new name, parking lot Barney.
Parking lot Barney.
Parking lot Barney come, okay, and he challenged you. And he's armed, and he's looking to kill you. So the thing of this is, if a person is looking to kill you, and he's armed, he's going to find an excuse to kill you.
And use that law.
And the law's there for him.
He's going to use it.
So now we're going back into the old
Wild
West day. Who's going to draw first?
Yep.
And Florida, North Carolina, all these southern states, Alabama, Ohio.
I'm telling you now,
Michigan.
I'm gonna be practicing to be the first Clint Eastwood here in Cleveland. I'm telling you.
Well, Saxman just got promoted to sergeant, so he's going to be going to be running stuff out here, and he's going to have to go. But you know, Saxman, I go back to this.
Finally, after 32 years.
Right, but see, I go back to this, especially on the Florida law. That shooting and that video should serve as a message to everybody. Everybody. If you 18 years old, you should be getting registered to vote. Look what's going on with Trump. Okay. November 8th, we should be having a riot at the polls. Forget, like I said earlier in the first section of the show,
Mm-hmm.
forget about protesting. Forget about shutting down a freeway. Forget about getting your picture taken.
Mm-hmm.
Forget about releasing balloons.
Mm-hmm.
Forget about standing at somebody's gravesite.
Mm-hmm.
Forget about crying.
Visuals.
Forget all that.
Yeah.
Everybody get together, go down to the Board of Education,
Right.
get registered to vote.
Right.
Get your driver's license. The Ohio law right now is taking people off the registration thing. Make sure that you are registered to vote. Get down there. Put young people in office who think like you. Put young people in there that's going to look out for your interests.
Mm-hmm.
Put young people in there that understands that they have a job to look out after the community and not make themselves rich or enrich their pockets.
Exactly, and that's what we got right now in office.
Right, and when you look at that, you have to do this. If you don't do this, people, if you don't do this, and Russell Wilkins is sending something to Saxman from
go ahead.
the chat room.
Either you're part of the solution or goddamn it, you are the fucking problem. Either you're part of the solution or goddamn it, you are the fucking problem.
So when you look at that, okay, and I feel right where that guy is. You have to be the solution to the problem that we're having. The respect of our kids. We have to teach our kids respect. We cannot let the streets raise our kids.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. We cannot let the police raise our kids.
That's right.
We cannot allow the school to prison pipeline to keep putting our kids in for-profit jails. Okay? Those are for-profit jails. People are making money off of our kids. Okay? They're not going to stop that, Saxman.
Why not?
If I can make money off of your kid, be it he playing football, be it he playing baseball, basketball,
or prison,
because prison is the number one. See, everybody think the NBA and the NFL is the number one thing for kids to go to. The number one draft choice for our young black males is the local prison.
That's right.
And once you get into prison, and I'm glad this is free for all Thursday because I want to say this.
Say it.
Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, welcome with you. And I thank everybody right here from Houston, Texas. Thank you for joining us. Savannah, Georgia. Christina's in the house. Michael Wilkins from UCLA, from LA's up there. Hey, shout out to all y'all. Thank y'all for being with us.
Right.
If you think for 1 minute that somebody who's making money off of your kids, everybody talking about the kids in college should be paid for playing sports. Okay? What about the kids in prison who's sitting there that has no outlook on life because as soon as they get out, they're not teaching them anything in prison. As soon as they get out, they're looking to replace them. As soon as the kid does something in school, what happens? He gets suspended. He gets arrested.
Yep.
There's no more counseling. There's no more supplementary center. You know, they just tore that down.
Yeah, I remember that.
They just tore that down here.
Wow.
So where's our kids going to go? If one of our kids have a problem.
Even the Caramel House, is the Caramel House still up?
Yeah, the Caramel House is still there.
I remember that place.
Ooh, and we got thunder coming all around us. Hopefully we don't get knocked down.
Deep.
But you look at this, everything's flashing around here, everybody. But, Saxman, when you look at this, if my kid has a problem, they want to put him on drugs. There's nowhere to put him. And if you put him in the schools with the good kids or the kids that doesn't have a problem, he's going to disrupt them so they can't learn. And then he's going to put it to the part, even if you are a smart kid, you don't want to be the smart kid because you want to run with the other kids.
Yeah,
okay,
they beat you up.
Okay, so you have this problem here. Okay, and the first thing the school does now, if you get in there, is no more in-school suspension. There's no more slapping your hand. They got police officers in school. Now they're arresting our kids. As soon as you get arrested, where you going into the system? When you go to the system, what happens? We got kids out here running around with guns doing 19, 14, 18 robberies over and over and over.
Right.
We got to deal with that kid. I told Tony Stone this right there in Saxman. You have to remember this. I told Tony Stone.
Last week.
No, it wasn't last week, but it was a couple of shows back in our second season that when a kid commit robbery with a gun and stuff, we have to deal with them right then.
Right.
And if they commit murder, we have to move them out of society. Look at the classic example. We talked about that case in Georgia where the kid had 17 robberies. was in juvenile jail. His lawyer begged the judge to put the kid into a program and release him from jail in an attempt to get his life together and to straighten him out. The judge did that, okay? A female judge took the risk, did that.
She did the old mommy thing.
Guess what? The kid went back out as soon as he hit the street. He committed 4 robberies, and then he killed a father of 3 that came to Atlanta for a wedding, and he was sitting outside of the wedding establishment where they was having the wedding at the club, smoking a cigarette. The guy came up to rob him, and when he robbed him, he took everything, and all the young man did was tell him, say, look, bro, you can have the money, you can have my rings and everything. Please give me my driver's license back because I can't get on the airplane to go home without my driver's license. And he shot him in the chest and killed him.
Wow.
Now this kid is facing murder, plus the 4 robberies of the 4 people that he robbed right there, okay? Now the judge who looked out for this young male and who tried to do the good thing to bring him back into society, now she's looking at a recall, and everybody's blaming her.
And that's going to make all other judges say, well, I'm not going to do that.
Well, would you?
Yeah. But see, in some cases, might be the young man might not have went out and done what he did.
Well, a lot of cases, if somebody tried to help me, a lot of cases.
So those that
would have has to suffer.
That deserve a second chance is not going to get it now.
Right, they have to suffer.
They got to suffer it.
And this is what I'm talking about, the community, because when you look at the community, okay, we, the community, East Cleveland, and we're going to talk about East Cleveland in a minute on Free for All.
Okay.
But we, the community, has to hold our youth to a higher standard.
Well, did you see the video of the 2 young black men in Detroit walked up on his
the veterans porch?
Veteran porch and robbed him.
Well,
he on the porch banner.
There go a good thing about
stand your ground.
The Ring doorbell and stand your ground.
Oh.
Okay, but the thing about this, Saxman, this is the problem I have. If the black man in the community, just like us, we got Peace in the Hood.
Right.
We got boxes.
Save our children.
Save SOS. Save our children. Might walk. It's time for us to come out, and I'm gonna say this. It's time for us to take up what the Black Panthers did. It's time for us to go with the Black Nationals. It's time for us to step up in our community, take our community, police our community ourselves, and let the kids and the robbers and the dope dealers and all of them know you don't have a place in our community.
Right.
You want to deal dope, go out into the other community.
Right.
Because we already know they're not going out there.
They ain't going to go out.
Okay. They're going out there to rob and steal,
Right.
but they're not going to go out there.
Right.
And when they go out there to rob and steal, you have to come back and look. They all running back to Cleveland. But the State Patrol, man, is on them.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. The State Patrol ain't playing with them, okay?
They sure ain't.
Cleveland might not be able to chase you,
No.
but the State Patrol
State
is on it.
Patrol going to get you.
Okay. So we have to, and I'm going to stand this because I was on a panel last week, and I'm going to talk at the NAACP thing, because the thing I want to tell the NAACP, and I told the panel last week when I was on the panel, we got to stop thinking and being taken for granted. Okay. First of all, politicians. You heard Trump on that tape we played earlier. He asked the question, can we still use Pastor Scott and the other pastor? What is that? Can we still use? Here go a black pastor who's taking his church and put his reputation on the line to help you and to go out for you and to come in the community to speak for you, and you're gonna ask on a recording that you don't even know you're being taped on, so we know it's original and this is how you feel.
Right.
Can we still use him? In other words, if we can't use him, we didn't got what we want. We're going to toss him to the side.
Right.
Okay? Right. That's unheard of. Okay? That's crazy. So when you look at that, Saxman, we have to start holding our kids accountable.
Right.
Black men, Big Walk, SOS, Save Our Sons.
Yeah.
He got a hell of a program.
I see them yesterday.
It's time for us to come out into the neighborhoods and take our streets back. It's time for us to tell our kids, if you out here robbing and stealing, we're going to meet you in the middle of the night.
And we're gonna get you.
We're going to take care of you.
We're going to get you.
You breaking in old people's houses. That old man, a veteran, sitting on his porch. Minding his business. And 2 guys walk up there with a gun and rob him. But the only good thing is, ring doorbell. Because now they got their pictures and know who they are.
Yep.
They didn't even know that.
Sure didn't.
Down Detroit could go get them. They're gonna get got.
And the old man didn't fight him and nothing like that because I guess he knew the camera was.
Well, but the old man already know not to fight him because he know they killed him. See, this is the thing about that, Saxon man. You're victims now.
Yeah.
You want more people living as victims. The people in jail got better quality of life than what we have in our neighborhood. You can't go out at night.
Wow.
We got bars and chains all over our windows.
Right.
You can't have nothing nice.
Right.
Okay.
You can't argue with nobody now because if you do, you might liable to get shot.
You can't even sit outside.
You can't sit outside. Not even in your car.
So when you look at all this and look what's going down at the thing.
Look what happened on Yukon Avenue when the guy was coming out of the liquor store and got into an argument with another male, and the other male pulled out an AK-47 and shot him up.
Shot the whole street up.
Shot the whole street up. Yeah.
But see, you have to understand this. We just did a thing where our city's flooded with guns. The guns being stolen off the trains.
Mm-hmm.
Where right here in the city of Cleveland, a whole boxcar AK-47s got stolen, and the city elected officials ain't told nobody nothing.
They're not.
Okay? They don't want you to know.
That's their agenda.
And when you look at this, Saxon man, if we do not stand up and take our streets back, and we don't say when, or we don't say how. As I said, what I wanted to tell the NAACP and the panel I told last week, we got to start thinking outside the box. We got to stop thinking about if Saxman is my friend.
Mm-hmm.
We got to start thinking about who's a Democrat, who's a Republican, who's independent. We got to start electing the proper people to do the proper thing. And that brings me right to what I want to talk about right here, Saxman, the city of East Cleveland.
Okay.
The activists are going wild all over East Cleveland over police training. I'm going to say this. I talked to investors. Nobody wants to come into the city of East Cleveland just because of the mess that keeps going on.
Yeah.
So when you look at this, how is the city ever going to recover or come back?
Well, my opinion is it's set this way to fail. So someone with a much bigger, broader idea of what to do with that city is going to come in, and they're going to change that city. They're going to push the inhabitants out and bring in a whole new group of folks that's going to come in East Cleveland.
Well, gentrification is going to take place.
It's going to happen.
And this is the problem I talked with Cassandra McDonald, the president of the Euclid chapter of the NAACP about, is that if the west side of the city's already ripped down and prepared for investors.
Yeah, that's part of what that
Superior, Lakeview, going back over to
and then going down towards University.
Right.
Yep.
Then you have the center of the city, which is a ghost town.
Oh my God, yes it is.
Look like World War II bombing run of Stalin.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Then you got the rest of the city going up the center of the city coming back where it's scattered and half vacant. So only homes you actually have where it's a continuity of people are up on the hill.
From terrace up, yeah.
Right. So when you look at this, if you live in East Cleveland and you live below terrace, your house is probably in disarray, or you living around houses in disarray.
Yeah, you're the only house that might have, or you might be the only house on that street.
On that street.
That's open.
Now you have to understand this. Nobody is jumping joy to come and work in East Cleveland.
Now let me tell you this, Sean, that you didn't know about. I meant to call you the other day. I was on duty the other day. I stopped in East Cleveland, talked to a few people. The health department closed down one of the stores in East Cleveland in that strip because of overpopulation of mice.
I hope it was. Well, you know, they had that big restaurant there too, so they should have closed down everything.
They need to close down that entire plaza, but they closed down the Dollar Tree. It made them throw everything in the Dollar Tree out because it was soaked in rat feces and urine.
Right, and if it's there, but see, Saxman, this is the problem.
Oh my God, it was terrible. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you this. I went through the store and I assisted the workers in taking out rat traps that was full of rats.
Right, and when you look at this, Saxman, just what I'm talking about. If it's there,
it's there.
It's the whole plaza.
It's the whole city. Because they got all those empty buildings around, and the rats are coming from there. They're tearing them down.
And how you gonna have restaurants in there?
Yeah.
So right there, if you eating at that, what's that, Best Gyro?
Best Gyro, right there.
Right. If you eating at Best Gyro, you got a problem.
You got rats in there.
Okay, because That whole if it's infected, that whole plaza
The whole
is
plaza
connected all the way down.
all the way across. It's disgusting. It's terrible.
And when you look at this, we are allowing our people to live and work in those conditions.
And they're shopping in those stores.
Right, because they have nowhere else to shop.
They have nowhere else to go, and the food is terrible. The meat in Coney's meats is brown. They just rewrapped it.
And they should close them down. But see, this goes back to what I was talking about. Everybody else coming in our community, taking our resources, okay, and nobody saying anything. First of all, East Cleveland, if East Cleveland don't have the inspectors who can pay for the inspector, that's why they're getting away with it. But the county should be in there.
Well, somebody came in there and inspected Dollar Tree and saw
Probably
that.
was the county.
Had to be the county.
And then when you look at, I was just saying this about the police officers. Nobody, okay, you can't get nobody to come police the police department. I mean, police the community. So you got people policing the community. You gotta have to work with these guys. You're gonna have some bad ones because believe me, nobody coming in East Cleveland is on top of their game. Okay. Now, young guy may want to start in law enforcement and start working with East Cleveland. But if he's not a young guy coming in law enforcement, you know he got problems. Okay? He got problems. Who else will go work in East Cleveland?
Somebody who can't go nowhere else.
There you go, Saxman. That's what I'm talking about.
I didn't want to say it. I'm sorry, y'all.
Okay. Somebody who don't want to work somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So the community, instead of attacking your police department or looking for a reason to attack your police department, you have to work with your police department and get them to be better police officers to help protect the environment that they're in. Okay? Now, they may have problems, okay? But if you help them correct these problems and get things together, you can make it better for everybody. Because if you don't want the police department, let me say this to a couple of activists. If you don't want the police department there, grab a petition. Go out. All you need is probably about 1,300 signatures. And I don't even think you need 1,300 because
from the city of East Cleveland.
Right. How many people voted last? What, 2,300 voted last? Okay. So you probably only need about, for the mayor recall, they only needed what, 500, 600?
They could get that.
Okay. If you dissatisfied,
that's all that's left in the city.
And I'm gonna say this, and you can say Shawn L said it on Stop the Madness, Keep It 100.
All right, let's hear this.
Okay. If you that dissatisfied with your policing in East Cleveland, and you think that you don't need the police department. Wow. All the activists, Eric Jonathan, Jay Brewer.
Yeah, my boy.
Okay. All the other activists, grab a petition. Go take that petition, have the language written up to disband the department completely, get the 600 signatures, and pull it on the ballot. Now, I just told you that. If you're not going to do that, don't say nothing else about the police department.
They're not going to do that.
You know you're not going to do that. 'Cause you know what?
You know they're not going to do that.
The last time, and the reason I'm going to say this, Saxman, because I know I know where I went there. The last time they had to make a choice between police officers and red light cameras, East Cleveland became the first city in the nation to vote red light cameras in.
over the police.
Over the police. Okay? So that lets you know if they wanted red light cameras to keep their police officers, okay, they don't want the police department gone. So if you don't want the police department gone, you don't have the resources, you don't have the money, it's a poor city, it's poor people in that city. Work with that police department to get those officers up to where you want them to be.
I mean, you should see the people walking through that city. They're like zombies.
But not only that, Saxman, you got police officers putting their lives on the line. You got guys out there trying to do a good thing. And maybe you got some people who take advantage of the good thing because of the situation they're in. Okay? But you have to understand this. There's more people trying to help than there is trying to take advantage.
Right.
Okay? So if the city would just come together and everybody work as one, all the activists come with counsel and work to get their paperwork together.
Well, Shawn, they listening to the activists and they're listening to the hate spewed out from the.
But wait a minute. But the activists are the ones keeping the turmoil.
That's what I'm saying. They're listening to that crap.
Right.
And they thinking, well, there's no hope for us in East Cleveland because this person, I look up to this person, so what he or she's saying must be true. So they believe in it, and they thinking there's no hope for East Cleveland. So no one wants to step up and get their feet wet and say, I'll step up and be the first one to say, no, that's not true. We can do this. This can be done. We can save this city. No one wants to save it now.
Right. You know why no one wants to save it? Because everybody has bitterness in their heart.
They have bitterness, exactly.
It goes back to a thing that you was talking about and that some other people was talking about. And there was an activist standing in front of City Hall talking about police officers training.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
can I say their name?
No, we don't want to say their name.
Okay,
we don't want to give nobody no press and say their name.
No free press. I got you.
But the bottom line of this is this: East Cleveland been having problems since the 80s. This didn't start overnight. When antenna specialists left and GE left, Huron Road Hospital became the biggest employer. Then you had all the people that was working leave. Then you had Huron Road Hospital leave. Okay, there's no tax base there. There's no money there.
Hardly any.
There, so you have to understand this is that the activists, some of the people who's complaining about East Cleveland right now, had to help create this problem. Okay, not only did they help create this problem, some of the problems they're talking about was under their watch.
It was on their watch, yeah.
Okay,
right.
So when you look at this, I think what needs to happen is the state charter need to be changed. They ought to allow the county to come in and take over municipality, because that if the mayor can't do it, if council is not going to change, and you're still going to have the same problems.
Well, that'll free up some of the money.
Because you look at this, if the red lights go right now, because I don't even go through East Cleveland.
Right.
Okay, I like that sign say on the freeway when you're going down 75 South, bypass East Cleveland. That's Cleveland, Tennessee. When you see that sign, they say bypass East Cleveland. I bypass East Cleveland.
Right.
I would go all the way through Willoughby and Menor to come back around, okay, to get to Cleveland Heights. Okay.
Damn.
I went down. I made the fatal mistake one day of going down Terrace.
Okay. Almost destroyed your car, didn't it?
Destroyed my car. I turned around, man. I needed flat, what they call them, flat tracks or whatever. Man, them chokeholds, I got out of my car and stood in a chokehold up to my side.
I was about to say, one of them chokeholds could swallow your whole truck.
And I'm looking at this.
Whoa.
The infrastructure of that city's gone. I remember when we got on the bus, Doug Million and us, we got on the bus with the investors and rode through East Cleveland. And I remember that they had to hire off-duty sheriff's officers, and we had to have 3 squad cars ride with us. And they took us down. I want to say, was that Wymore or not Wymore, Page?
Page and Wymore's next to each other.
When you go down this street, Jamal did a video on it.
Those buildings are gutted out. They're empty.
Right.
No windows.
Right. It looked like
a bomb hit and blew everything out.
Like a B-52 bomb run, World War II over Germany.
Yep.
Okay. But when they took this bus trip, it was in the fall, so it gets dark about 4 or 5 o'clock.
Exactly.
We're coming down here, and it's getting dark. So when it's getting dark, there's no street lights. And everybody think of if you listen to me in Savannah and all this, it's like going into the dark ages. There's no street lights. And I'm talking about we're in the middle of a major metropolitan city.
When your full moon lights up the streets, that lets you know.
That's the only light you got.
That's the only light you have from the full moon.
So we coming down in these buses. And we on these Great Lakes buses. It's 2 buses. Everybody's sitting there. So we got cameras, we sitting there, we interviewing, we talking to people, and we doing the show, getting ready for the show. So we talking to people and everything. We driving down. The guys explaining to us that the city's split up in 4 different zones and everything. We come into this area of Saxman, and we get to the bottom of it, and there's people living down at the bottom. We make this left-hand turn, and we're in a no zone.
Right.
The buses pulls up, stop, put their blinkers on, and all you see is the yellow beam of the blinkers. Then the police cars, they're the sheriffs, okay? They get out. They turn on their red and blue lights, overhead lights. They got these flashlights, which I love.
Yeah.
They got flashlights that make it look like daytime.
Yeah,
The halogen lights, you know.
Those stingers. Those
yeah.
are the stingers.
So they're taking us, and we off the bus, and everybody's scared to move, and we talking, and people moving, but you can hear shadows, like when you come between the building, you can see a shadow like down at the back of it, and it's like dark, little light of shadow, then dark. You don't know what the hell it is. It could have been a deer. I don't know.
Right.
But the sheriff said it was people.
Right.
Okay. Then we found out the people are living in those buildings.
In those abandoned, empty buildings, yes.
Right. That's how we found. That's how I found that out.
Yep.
And that's weird.
Yep.
Okay. So when we down there, they're talking about land and investing, but nobody is talking about investing what?
What can you invest in? What? What? And what?
Right. How you going to invest in anything down there? Who in the right mind to tear one building down? The guy from the construction thing, and then if you know the building that was over there by Hill Road Hospital, the one across the street from Hill Road Hospital.
Yeah, that's that high-rise tower.
Right.
I forget the name of that.
It's going to cost $3 million just to tear it down.
Just that one.
And then another $1.5 million to pull the bricks away. And if you don't take the bricks away, they're talking about they got this new technology where they can crush the bricks up and make it soft. Okay. But if you're going to use that land, it's going to be another $2 million. So you're talking about $5 to $6 million to take that one building out. Now think about all those other buildings down there.
It's a lot of them.
A lot of them. Then you look at the people from University Circle. In order for that city to come back, Saxman, everybody got to go.
Like I said, they're gonna remove all the indigenous personnel out of
And then you know everybody think that I'm joking, but Cleveland Heights, Euclid, South Euclid, they got programs. Cleveland Heights and Euclid got programs where they're jumping on a homeowner. Ben Carson had cut Section 8, making it harder for somebody to rent to people Section 8 and what's going on. Okay, so when you look at that, what's going on, and all of that issue, you can't go to Euclid, you can't go to Cleveland Heights, you can't go to South Euclid. So the only place for those people in the city of East Cleveland to go, you can't go back downtown. So you either got to go to Willowick, which is going to be another Ferguson.
Euclid.
No, Euclid, you got to jump over Euclid. Euclid took their hit. And Euclid now is on the homeowner. Okay. Euclid's now, if you Section 8 in the city of Euclid now, the homeowner's getting hammered. You can't have no pill and paint. You can't have, I mean, Euclid's on you.
About time.
Okay. So Euclid's forcing people not to take Section 8 to skip over there. So look at Willowick.
Because see, that's what brought Euclid down was the Section 8.
Well, I'm not going to say the Section 8 brought the
no, because the reason why I say that because years ago Euclid used to be a retirement community for.
But you have to look at this. The people, right? It was retirement, but they died.
They was dying, but so they started selling out the apartment buildings to K&D. K&D started renting out to Section
anybody.
8. Yep.
Because they wanted the money.
Yep.
See, the difference what you have to look at, Saxman, is the landlord. K&D wants your money. So K&D was charging people $1,200, $1,300 to live there. Okay, when it was the good Gold Coast, the Watergate, and all that.
Yep.
But if I'm paying $1,200, $1,300 a month, I want some service.
Yep.
Okay. Now, when you didn't give me the service that I want, I'm going to move out.
Right.
And I'm going to go to the nice place to go because I can afford it. Okay. So what K&D did, they brought in Section 8 because the federal government was giving them that money.
Right.
And they didn't have to do no work.
Right.
And then what happens when they got that money and they didn't do no work, they ran all the other people out. So they had to put Section 8 in there.
That's right.
Now you got the building running around full of rats and all that because
that's right.
they wasn't doing anything. No slumlords.
That's right.
Okay. And if you look at the homes in Euclid, it was retirement town.
Retirement home.
Okay. But my kids left So when I died or went into a nursing home, my kids wasn't coming back into my house. So either, and the house is paid off. So either they sold it or they leased it out as a landlord of Section 8 to make extra money.
Right.
Okay. And then when they mortgaged it off to the hill and they made their money, they walked away and left it for the bank. Okay. That's what's happening now. And that's where the problems are at. Okay. If you look at the inner city, we should have never allowed Mike White and the people downtown to close the projects and move all them people out of the projects and scatter them all over the city. Okay, that's what killed 185th Street.
What? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Because you remember when the city had residency law, everybody lived in pockets.
Right.
Okay. Soon as residency law was up, everybody jumped and left.
Right.
They left their houses for the banks. Okay. People went Section 8. Some people just walked away and left it.
Right.
Okay. Section 8 comes and stay in this house, tear it up. Then what they do? They go to the next house, tear it up. So you say I'm not renting to Section 8 no more.
Right.
I say I'm not renting to Section 8 no more. Where they got to go? They can't stay in this area. Okay. So now they leave this area. They can't go to Euclid. So where's the next area? You got all the Italians right now because you got people from Section 8 moving in Willowick. Okay, Willoughby. Okay. They all running and moving. So they just can't run and move. What they gonna do?
Where they gonna go?
They gonna go. Nope. They gonna go, but they gonna give that house to Section 8. Willowick will be your next Ferguson.
You think so?
It's gonna be a small town that's 90% or something black,
right,
ran by whites.
Wow.
Just like Ferguson. And you're gonna have the same policing as Ferguson. Because they're doing it now. All the Italians that left South Collinwood, North Collinwood, they're all out in Willoughby, Menor. They're all out there. They're selling their homes.
And they getting away.
They leave. Go out there and see the for sale signs.
I see them. I'll be out there.
Okay, and then look at the area you working at.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I did notice when I was working out there in the suburbs of Hudson, man, in Streetsboro, I didn't see that type of action. It was peace and quiet.
Well, you have to understand this too. The further you go out, and when you see exactly what we're doing is
you got to go 30, 40 miles away from Cleveland.
I want to say this because it's like when we was talking about being on Howard Stern and we talking about the Howard Stern show when you start laughing and laughing and talking about this. There is a lot of black communities and a lot of black professionals, Richmond Heights, Highland Heights. I mean, out there making money, living
good,
and living good and doing okay without the problems.
Yep, you don't hear about
it. So right, you don't hear about it because you know why? Everybody focus in on the bad part and restriction. Cleveland, East Cleveland, Euclid. Warrensville. Well, you know what? Warrensville got a lot of money. Warrensville got it made, and Warrensville pulled up. The only problem Warrensville had, Saxman, you have to look at those apartments back over there, up off of Emory.
Yep.
Okay, now they straightened them out because guess what? You know that big fire happened up there, and then now Warrensville got Amazon out there. Euclid getting ready to get some Amazon.
Yep, I know about that.
Okay, so think about the tax base Euclid had. This is the question everybody hasn't asked themselves. How can Euclid maintain their tax base and East Cleveland can't? Okay?
Government.
Now, Euclid lost a lot of factories up there, but they maintain Lincoln Electric. They get Amazon. Okay? A lot of little stores, mom and pop stores don't got it, but they got working people up there. Income tax base, okay? Their police department hasn't suffered none.
Nope.
And they haven't hired no minorities.
They got
probably about two.
No, I'm sorry, three. There's three blacks on Euclid that I know.
3 out of 100.
Yep.
Come on, 3 out of 100, and it's all black suburb.
Yep.
And Euclid just got sued because Euclid had made it to where blacks couldn't run because they made their wards citywide, so it didn't make a difference if you ran for council. It was citywide. Okay, but they just got sued, so I think they're going to change it around. And they closed some fire departments down up in that section. But still, it's a valuable city.
It is a valuable city. It's growing big time.
And you say that when it's growing big time. Look at Wycliffe.
Well, Wycliffe is looking good. They're thriving. They got a lot of businesses in Wycliffe, up and down through the corridor of Euclid, going up through Willoughby. That's all businesses, and it's thriving. It's big money.
And I'm gonna say this, Sex man, that everybody don't understand. If East St. Louis can come back, East Cleveland can come back.
You got to get the right people to bring it back, man. That's the thing.
And I guarantee, Sex man, I guarantee you right now, I was on those two coaches with all those investors, and I'm talking about millions and millions of dollars. I guarantee you right now, if you take you take a bus in East Cleveland and you take everybody from Lakeview down to Ivanhoe, take all them people out of East Cleveland, I guarantee you that city be built up in a day. I guarantee you it will.
With the right investors?
With new houses, new infrastructures. The state said what? We're gonna pave Euclid Avenue. Okay. Forget Euclid Avenue, pay Terrace first.
Yeah, please do that first.
Right, pay Terrace first.
From Noble all the way across.
No,
man.
period. All the way down, all the way around.
All the way.
Then go in there right now. There's so much money that can be made. And everybody talking about Cleveland gonna take it. Cleveland ain't taking
Cleveland
nothing.
don't want that. That's not gonna be another ward. No way.
No, Cleveland's not gonna take East Cleveland. Cleveland Heights not gonna take East Cleveland. And eventually,
University gonna come up, but it's not gonna come no
eventually,
further than,
the sheriff department is gonna have to go in there and provide police and fire protection.
Well, lately I've been noticing they had like maybe 4 cars on doing the first shift.
Well, they out there now because of that new initiative. And then you got the state patrol here, but everybody's yelling about the state patrol coming in.
Yeah.
But the state.
Well, it's only one person yelling.
Well, I want to tell you this, everybody is new. I've been listening to everybody.
Just the one individual that's yelling about the state.
State patrol has authority on any public roadway in the state of Ohio.
Right.
Okay, so everybody need to know that. But Saxman, you know, we talked about East Cleveland, and I don't know what's gonna happen with it. I hope they get it together. Okay, and I hope the thing's going on. Next week, everybody, Tone the Stone gonna be back with us. We're gonna talk about a little bit of the school to prison pipeline.
Yeah, I kind of miss messing with him, man.
Sax Man just got promoted. He's gonna tell us what's happening out there on the beat.
I'll let you know.
He's gonna check us some new Senate bills that's coming up.
Yeah, the SBs is deep.
We have a major storm coming through the city of Cleveland right now. High winds, trees falling down. We got knocked off a couple of stations. The ones that stayed with us, I'd like to thank you for being with us. And you know what, Sax Man?
That time.
Fan base is big, I can't lose. Sugar bow down, I'm the next to rule, but I'ma stay on the cool, remain on the under, cause like Andre 3000, your boy's ice cold. Ain't no limit to the gimmicks and ways to make money. No limit to the just to act funny when you get that cake, cause you spit that way. They may love you tomorrow when they hate you today, but yo, that's the way the story goes. So I was told, following the rainbow down the yellow brick road. Please believe at the end, ain't no pie to go. There's some platinum beats from the Cleveland streets.
Hey, D knows. We want to thank you for being with us. And D, we hear that you love Houston. Sax Man.
Congratulations down there, girl.
Hey, Sax Man is about to knock off his own show. Sax Man, what is it going to be called?
Hey, it's going to be called the Sax Man Show. That's what it's going to be called.
It's going to be the Sax Man.
The Sax Man Show. We're going to have some fun on it, too. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a little controversy. It's going to be back and forth like we do here at STMK Radio. Stop the Madness, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Hey, Sax Man, before we get up out of here, what you want to say to our good people?
Hey, stay tuned. We have a lot of shows coming up. It's going to be great. My show is coming up. It's going to be great. We're going to have more guests coming in. You're going to love this season. The season's going to be great. Enjoy your weekend. Saxman going to enjoy it. And come on my page, Saxman Russell Facebook page. Check out some of my videos and let me know what you think.
Hey to everybody, I want y'all to be safe in the city of Cleveland. You know that big storm is rolling in off of the lake. Y'all went to see the Beyonce and Jay-Z yesterday at the stadium for the concert, and it was a bad concert. We're going to post some pictures up from STMK
Would you say
Radio
bad?
100.
Would
Yeah.
you say bad was bad, like terrible bad? Or
No,
was
no,
it
no.
good
It was bad.
It was bad.
It was laid
It was
out.
like Michael Jackson bad.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was bad. It was a nice one. Hey, I'm your host, Shawn L, and I want to thank everybody for being with us and staying with us even through the bad weather.
Yeah.
And we want you to stay back with us. We're starting our third season, getting ready to go into the fall.
Right.
Until next time, peace, love, and happiness. I'm your host, Shawn L. See ya.
You've been listening to Stop the Madness, Keep It 100 on STMK